Hey, Nancy.
Hey, how are you?
Uh, Good. How are you doing?
I am absolutely fabulous.
Right on.
So, hey, where are you located? I was always curious about that.
I'm in Langley, BC.
Okay,
How about
okay.
yourself?
I'm in Wisconsin. Can you see my t-shirt today?
People here early.
Right on. Right on. Nice to see you. Oh, and there is. Look at that. Look at you two. Yay!
Love it.
Calgary, and is that the Golden Knights? No, what
It's apparently another version of the Flames.
We've been around a long time.
is? Oh, wow.
When in Calgary.
Is that an old Calgary logo, or what is that?
This one, my husband's from Calgary. He's 50 years old. He's got every Flame shirt that.
Okay. Yeah, I recognize the one you're wearing, but not Jonathan.
No, me neither.
Yeah, this one's more of the old, like, vintage one.
Okay. Very cool, you guys. Trouble. Here comes trouble.
I love it.
So, when in Calgary. So today, you probably know already, right? They're encouraging people to wear hockey jerseys right across Canada as a sign of respect for the Humboldt team.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Now it's 16.
Okay, well that's the closest I can come. I don't know if
Hey,
you can
that's pretty
see my shirt there. That's
Yeah.
my stepson's. He's played hockey forever and a day.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey,
Now
Steve.
he's in what they call a beer league. Welcome to Wisconsin.
I'll be right back.
Oh, she's going to get a jersey.
That's hilarious.
This is
Yeah.
Hey, Steve. We're all wearing hockey jerseys here in Canada today.
Hey,
We're all wearing hockey jerseys.
looks like a couple of tents.
I know. Well, they're pretty big. Yeah. I hope Eileen's wearing hers.
What's all that about?
So there was a tragic coach crash on the weekend. So it was a junior hockey league, and it was T-boned by a semi, and so far 16 kids and their trainers were killed. Terrible. And so it's like huge in Canada because almost every kid plays hockey, right? And this was a junior league, so these people were between 14 and 22 or something, and 16 of them just like gone, all in one. Oh, there's Eileen. She's got her hockey jersey on. So yeah, so they're asking everybody in the country today to wear jerseys as a sign of respect.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Eileen's got hers on. You guys are meeting. Have you met already, or are you meeting after this?
Sorry. With your Eileen, right?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just spoke to them, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So it gives us a good starting point with Instagram and YouTube anyway, so we'll crack on with that,
Yeah, fantastic. Jeanette, you're back.
I thought my husband had a jersey somewhere. I was going to throw it on, but must be in that old hockey bag of his, and that ain't going to work.
I'm not going.
Yeah, well, I'm not putting on one of Jonathan's old ones to save my life. No, not the way that thing smells.
That's not me.
Not you, Jonathan. I'm sorry. My stepson's name is Jonathan. Oh,
Okay.
I'm so sorry. Not you.
How are we doing for time here? So we've got 11:00. It's 11:02 here because I'm an hour ahead of myself. So I have to show you this, folks, because this is for real. It is snowing. Look at that.
Oh.
So we went for a walk this morning on sheet ice all over the pavements, and there was car crashes everywhere, and Susan had a little snowshoe clip-ons for her runners, and it's amazing. Oh, here comes Dory. So she's in Tucson, Arizona, so she'll be in about 110. Dory, you just missed me showing the snow outside.
Oh my. No, it's not. We're going to have a warm day today in the 80s.
I thought you were getting into the hundreds.
80s Fahrenheit. Well, I meant to say cool day today, 80s Fahrenheit. Yeah.
Oh, cool day. I was going to say, yeah, that's not warm for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got Rosalie here, who we're going to meet later today. Hi,
Oh,
Rosalie.
She just sent me a note. I'm going to reply to your email, Rosalie.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Let's just see if anybody else is going to join us. Any notes? Nope. All right, so we're recording already. The whole idea of today, for those of you that are fairly new or not new at all, is this is what I call AMA, which is Ask Me Anything. And typically what we do is people apply for what we call a hot seat. So we can bring up their social media, we can have a look at it, look at their blog, look at their website, their email list, lead generator, or whatever that might look like. And yeah, see, this is fun. and help them out. And then typically what I do too is I normally start by just having an idea. So Steve sort of prompted me on this yesterday, where he said, we've been talking about what to write each day that makes it different, that keeps you top of mind, because you can run out of ideas really quickly. So I was thinking about that yesterday, and then obviously I traveled to Calgary yesterday, which is it's a big deal. If I was driving, how long would it take?
From Abbotsford?
Yeah.
12 hours?
Yeah, and it's not an easy drive.
No, you're going through the mountains.
Yeah, you're right through the
Through
Rockies.
the mountain passes.
Yeah, it's no fun. Whereas I jumped on a plane in pouring rain, hopped over the mountains, arrived early. I mean, it didn't even take an hour. And suddenly I'm in this beautiful, sunny, blue sky, cold Calgary. I mean, it couldn't be more different, and in less than an hour. So that alone is pretty cool. So I was able to sort of take pictures of the plane. I got a premium seat, so I got an empty seat next to me, and I got some wine and snacks. And I arrived here, and Susan's got this cool number plate on her car. It's Sue Zen, so S-U-E and then Z-E-N, because she's such a chill,
My husband wants me to be chill. He got me the license plate.
And her husband, who's a doctor, his number plate is Dr. Zoom. And there's a story behind that, because you're not allowed to say doctor, but his initials are DR, so he was allowed that. And he used to have a Mazda, which was Mazda Miata, right?
Yeah, a little Mazda.
And the Mazda ad was like Zoom Zoom. So that was his. So that's a story in its own right already. And then I'm here in this beautiful home, and it's snowing outside. It looks like Christmas Day. And we went for a walk with the dog, and it was so icy that, literally you had snow clip-ons onto your shoes to stop you slipping in the ice. And it's just so different than my normal day. I mean, this kind of thing is not abnormal for me, but being in a different city and different weather, and being Canadian and wearing hockey jerseys, because Dory's like, what the heck? She missed that one. Adds to a story. So here's what happens. Obviously, I get paid to work with wonderful people like Susan, or she pays me to work, and Canadian government chips in as well, to help businesses elevate, their online presence. And in the first hour alone, I just blew your mind with falling in love with Google, right?
I'm like, oh my gosh. I couldn't believe the stuff that I haven't been doing in my business. And I had somebody else working on that page. Like, I thought it was done.
Nope. Yeah, and Steve and I just did it the other day, and he's had his pin just come through already, and then we can work on it. So that's what I do. And you don't want to sort of say, look at me, I'm awesome. But if you can say, why don't you come along for the journey and have some fun, because it's going to be fun, then people chip in. So I took a photograph this morning of this lovely French press coffee pot that Susan took, and we had comments around that, and comments around, the weather and the journey. And suddenly I'm in a conversation with people on my business page, my Instagram, and my Facebook personal page. And at the same time,
who knew this was going to be a story?
Look at that. Yay. At the same time, people are now knowing what I do. And quite often these seeds are planted, and then people are like, I need to get serious about growing my business. Things are good, but they could be way better. And then people call me. So have I paid for any ads? No. Have I put myself out there and said, we're the company that you should hire to get yourself found online? No. But am I telling that story in such a way as people like, oh, that looks like so much fun. I'd love to do that too. Then the answer is yes. So reverse engineer that back to who you are and what you do in business. So let's just take Jeanette. Wow, that's a ding and a half.
What? What? Was that a question?
It's like, anyone.
I've been up since 5 this morning. What do? I get up at 5 in the morning and have conferences with people in Florida and the Ukraine.
There you go. So you could get a photograph of the map of the state of Florida. You could find some interesting fact about what goes on in the Ukraine. And your social media post has just finished a call with my client in the Ukraine. Did you know that the Ukraine is the world's largest importer of iron ore, or whatever it is they're famous for? So it's like, here's people in the Ukraine seek her out because she's that good. And then you could talk about Florida and sort of say, you know, who's been to Disney World? You know, Disney World, Disneyland. And suddenly, and we have clients, and I'm just curious. So you're positioning yourself by just using what's happening around you and creating gobs of content every day without even trying.
Awesome.
Right?
Right?
To me, that's the secret of a social media strategy.
Awesome.
Steve's in the UK, and if you know that the politics of the UK right now, they're pulling out of Europe, the European Union, and it's called Brexit. So it's Britain exiting the European Union, and it's just become Brexit, as I understand it. And it's very contentious. Some people don't even think it's actually going to happen. Some people can't wait for it to happen. There's a lot of national politics rising about, you know, whether Britain should have immigrants coming into the country and how much they're draining the system. And it's a schmozzle of news. It's not that positive, but at the same time, there's a lot of things that England is really proud of. I mean, the whole civilized world, you know, pretty much happened out of England, you know, America and Europe and India and Australia. I mean,
Wait a minute.
Yeah, I know.
am I right, Steve?
People.
I mean, the British Empire, considering the size of the country, when you think that Australia and most of Africa and India and the Americas was colonized by Britain. Funny that they all speak this language. So, you know, you could be contentious, and at the same time, you could just say, one of the greatest things about the English people going to India was tea. And I love a cup of tea. What's your favorite kind of tea? And that alone could be a post that creates a conversation. Just pulling things out of my hat. But these are the sort of things that, you know, on a day-to-day basis, keeps you in the conversation, keeps you in front of other people, and then has that direct correlation to what it is that you do for work, because it ties into that conversation. So Steve has an awesome a commercial cleaning company, but he's wearing his wife's hat right now because we're promoting Natalie's business, and she's in partnership with a lady called Jenny, and they have incredible gifts of comfort where they help people get in touch with lost loved ones on the other side. And it's a big deal for a lot of people. And what we're trying to do is take out the woo-woo piece out of that and make it very real and truthfully monetize the opportunity for people to work with these people one-on-one and in groups and have like our one-on-one, but in a very different way. And it really gives people comfort. And how you can talk about that, because they have a Facebook Live, you guys, on a Sunday night. I've been to a couple of them now. It is like the best Facebook Live I've ever seen for an individual. I mean, some of the big people like Lisa Sasevich or so can do a Facebook Live and get quite a lot of people, but this is with respect, a no-name person who's not famous yet, but they can get like several thousand people on their Facebook Live on a Sunday night. I mean, we're not talking tens and hundreds, we're talking thousands. And then they share it and they boost it. And the stream of Facebook comments, it's like the Matrix. I mean, it literally is dripping down that fast. It's unbelievable to try and keep on top of things. So when something that is that popular, the secret is, you know, how to turn it on a dime and make money out of it, with respect to still helping people and not feeling like it's, you know, it's a paper chat kind of thing. So for Steve, what we're trying to do now is find stuff. So we just got into Instagram and we're getting into YouTube. So to take what's happening on Facebook and then get it into the Google world and also get it into the Instagram world, so that the catchment, you know, increases enormously, and their value goes up with more eyeballs. And then we're going to work on the website and how those Facebook groups and programs will really work. Who else is here? Dory's here. So Dory, I met. Do you want to come on camera, Dory? Look so pretty when you're on camera. Dory.
Where is he?
Is she there?
Pressure.
No,
I was eating breakfast.
All right. So Dory is near Tucson, Arizona, right? Close enough?
Northwest suburbs, yes.
Northwest suburbs of Tucson. And quite often Tucson is, to coin a Robin Williams phrase, Tucson is hotter than a snake's ass in a sandpit. In the summer, right? That was some Good Morning Vietnam.
I love that movie.
It was such a great movie. But look at this office. I mean, look at all those notifications on the wall. Look at all those books. I mean, there is a center of learning, and then the bowl of cereal. That alone, just a screenshot of you working, is cool because of the academic background of your husband and everything that goes on around you guys, right from just the visibility of your webcam.
Mm-hmm.
And Dory's got an incredible story. She's brought up some amazing boys and has a very long marriage and has some incredible stories. And she's helping people turn their lives around in remarkable ways. And she's Arizona's best kept secret right now. In fact. So her and I have had this conversation over the last few months about translating her story into reality through a website that is in the 21st century. And
yeah, she looked at my website and said it looks like something catastrophic happened in 2012.
Well, it did. You know, yeah. Everything just stopped for you, and that's okay. So we're bringing you into 2018, and come out with some social media that will reflect who you are as an individual, the mammoth amount of money that you spent in the education of your boys, and the time of running them to sports and all that kind of stuff, and how you bring that. You bring that experience to your clients, right? So and of course you've got cactuses and you've got the Grand Canyon just up the road. You've got the world's largest media crater and all these cool things in Arizona that people probably forget about, that you could tie into your story. And just your everyday walk outside with the hummingbirds and the citrus fruit and stuff would just make us, look at this smell out the window, and I'm talking about hummingbirds. So these are the sort of pieces that you need to start tying into your social media strategy on a day-to-day basis. Now, are we selling at this point? Absolutely not. But are we keeping top of mind, and are we showing people what we do as an aside, just because we're having fun during the day? Then yes, we are. I mean, Susan and I took a shoofy this morning. If you don't know what, you've heard of right? So we took a shoofy. So there's her with her crampons, and there's me with my -40 boots, and then the poor dog with nothing. But, you can do shoofies at conferences and so on and so forth. There's so much you can do, just little, because we all have one of these on our hand anyway. But just taking pictures of what's going on around you makes a huge difference to regular content. And this is just a day-to-day, I wouldn't say fluff, but this is the frosting on a cinnamon roll that gets us through the day, and we have a lot of fun. Then we take a step back, and this is where the blogging course that we teach is so important, because we then structure the company story, the main elements of the business that we teach and we get remuneration for and add value. And then we start bringing those blogs and those story client test cases into our social media strategy as well. Now we have a backbone of content that we can schedule and we plan through, like the blogging course. And so that's our core business and what we do. And then we add all the frosting of all the fun stuff around it. Then you bring in video. So it could be Facebook Live, as Natalie's doing so well, or it could be not even a Facebook Live, but a video that you upload into Facebook so it automatically plays. And that's where the selfie sticks and the tripods and all that really make a big difference. So between then core content, which is exactly what you do as a business, the frosting, if you like, which is the fun stuff that happens every day, and then the video strategy, then at this point we've got like 80% of a strategy. The next 20%, and that 80-20 rule, is where the magic happens, and that's the engagement. So we can, 80% of our work is only going to give us 20% of our result. We know that. Maslow? Somebody.
Ask the psychologist. You must have a psychologist here somewhere.
Some Italian dude came up with this 80-20 rule, and that pretty much works for everything. But the 20% that really makes the difference is the engagement. And that could be a direct message on Facebook Messenger. That could be me sending a message to Dory on Monday morning saying, are we going to chat soon? And she went, I'm free this afternoon after 4 o'clock. I went, okay, 4:30 it is. Yeah. And we thrashed out an idea and we're running with it already. So, and that was on Facebook. I didn't call her up. I didn't send her an email. We direct messaged on Instagram, on Facebook, and this, you can do it on Instagram. But it's those engagement pieces that then sort of take people into your inner circle. So, you know, I always talk about Facebook being like the pool party and everybody's standing around, and then if they really want to talk to you, you bring them inside your home and you sit in your study or your office or kitchen table or whatever. That's the engagement piece. So Pareto, thank you, Dory. I knew it was somebody.
See, she's got it in one of those books.
I bet so. I bet. Pareto's principle. So it's the 20%, which is the smart. And it's the 20% of them people reaching out and saying, because Jeanette, I can't remember, did you email me or did you Facebook me about Thomas? I have a feeling you Facebooked me.
I think I Facebooked you. Yeah, I think I did.
Yeah, I think you did. I'm pretty sure you did.
Yeah.
So when people say, I don't have time for social media because I'm so busy doing everything else, what I'm saying to people is like, maybe everything else isn't working. Maybe you need to spend less time on email and less time, I mean, I love the phone, but less time on the phone and spend more time engaging with people through social media, building up a rapport. So that coffee pot that, you know, we talked about, this beautiful purple Le Creuset coffee pot. She's not here today, but one of the other ladies in our group is Tracy Ingle. She's a lawyer in Massachusetts. She loves Le Creuset, and she already commented in caps. She went, I want that coffee pot.
She's got the teacups.
I didn't know it was a story. Who knew? Someone else loves it too. My husband thought I was crazy buying another coffee pot. I'm like,
so I mean, Tracy's not here right now, but she bought Bootcamp and then she decided to buy a Power Content. I haven't worked with her individually, but now she's seeing Susan, and I'm in Susan's house for the next 2 days, and the coffee pot story. I bet you there's a germinating seed in her head saying, what if Jonathan came to Massachusetts and worked with me? Where could that take my practice? You know, and that's, to me, that's how I do business. Do I sell anything? No. Because you probably heard me say this, because I say things a lot. If I call you, I'm a salesman. But if you call me, I'm an expert. So when Jeanette, when you reached out and said, I have a client, I've built his website, he needs more, would you meet him? You're reaching out to me as an expert. You know, we met in a restaurant with Thomas. I showed him what we could do. He went, I'm in. It's simple as that. And that's how business can be done, as simple as that. Once you know your value, know what you're selling, and you build that trust enough. So you followed me on social media, Jeanette, for a long time. You know the case studies that you've seen me talking about for years. You know my positive energy. You know that I'm 100% committed to whoever works with me to their success. So you had no doubt that I would help Thomas, and we are. That's what people get out of a social media strategy. So, hey, Juliet, good to see you. She's such a good, look at that smile.
I was noticing the other day.
Oh, who wouldn't want to work with that smile? But Juliet used to be a human resources leader in corporate America. Now she's working with helping teens get into higher education and just making those life choices. And she's bringing, so the more stories she can talk about successes of teens, maybe it isn't going into higher education, maybe it's going into a family business or whatever that looks like. Those stories will keep her top of mind, so that when a dad is ready to invest in his son who just can't make his mind up about what he wants to do, and he's going to go to university for 4 or 5 years and still not know what he wants to do, and in steps Juliet, and it's all done. So that's really my philosophy around social media, is to have those conversations, have fun. Do you remember the 5 E's?
Yeah, of course I do.
So what's number 1? Engage.
Engage.
Number 2 is entertain. Number 3 is educate.
Educate.
Number 4 is empower. So at this point, it's like, And number 5 is excite, when they call you and say, how can I work with you, right? Or it's enticing enough to take it to the next level. And that's a social media strategy in a nutshell. Okay, can I go now?
We're stuck here. Do you see that snow?
I snowed in now.
Oh no! Wow.
Oh, seriously? I got to show you this because there's some people here that were here before. I'll walk slowly, but it is dumping.
Oh my
snow.
goodness!
It's
That's
for real.
crazy.
I know.
We're on fire here in Southern California.
You're on fire. Yeah, the only fire that we've got over was lit last night, which is very nice. It's Instagram with the fire glowing. So that's really what I want to encourage you to think about when you're posting every day, is just to have some fun, just to be real. I have a slide in my deck and it said, the secret of making stuff happen? It goes on to transitions on to have fun and tell your story. And the more you do that, and like Steve did a video earlier today of his wife doing steps to some music in their living room, right? It was great.
Yeah, did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Natalie wasn't aware that I was doing it, and I did think, it would be good for the page, but we actually discussed it because she was, oh my God, how can you do that? And just went off her head. And, but, after speaking with Jenny, Natalie, and myself, I said, I understand it's vulnerable, because it's not, she didn't feel very flattered the way that the camera was and stuff like that. But, ultimately it is about letting that guard down and getting people to see the real you. So, when we done that, it was fantastic. The engagement that she had and the comments that she got, it was very, very positive, So, yeah, it was great.
And no money, right?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
We've actually stopped Steve spending money on Facebook for the time being. And the reach is going up. So
I've not even looked at that. Have you been looking then, have you? Okay.
So it's good stuff. So that's my philosophy from the C-suite down in any business. The more you can see what somebody's up to and the more they enjoy life and they just share what they do, the more people are attracted to working with you. And I'm not qualified in the law of attraction, but in my brain, I think that's what they mean, is that people are attracted to you naturally. I manufacture mine naturally by sharing it on social media, but it works. It just works. So anyway, back to you guys. What can we help you with? Do you have any questions? Do you want us to look at anything? Brainstorm? I got an international PR expert sitting right next to me. So if you want to get, on Good Morning America tomorrow for free, good luck. But there is a way.
There is a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I'll go if you wouldn't mind. So you got me thinking when I was watching your hours seminar a couple of days ago, and one thing that stuck in my head is that advertising, you're essentially telling people how good you are, and PR is like a third person saying how good you are. And that kind of really stuck in my mind for my wife and obviously Jenny about how I can utilize that, whether it be through, I don't know, if it is press in the UK or, it just seems maybe kind of really big. Does that make sense? And it seems a bit untouchable, but the more I think about it, there's got to be a way of being able to use some sort of PR. Would it be a local thing? Would it be a national thing? I mean, any tips really, I guess,
It's interesting that you say that, because I remember even, like, I think what I do is fairly straightforward because, I've been doing it for so long, and I was saying, well, yeah, I was getting a news story out, and I was looking at the coverage, and my husband, even, who's been married to me for 20 years at this point, was like, how did you do that? I'm like, what do you mean, how did I do that? Like, I wrote the news story, I sent it to the media, I called and make sure they got it, gave them some idea, like, I set it up, and it happened. And he's like, I would have no idea how to get my story on the news. And it's like, well, if you've got news, if you have something to say, it's actually not that hard. The point is to, and one of the key messages out of my presentation on Tuesday was, is it newsworthy or is it just information? So how do we make, if it is just information, we have to do something to it to make it more newsy, to make it more interesting. So it's like, if a dog bites a human, that's not news, but if the human bites back, it is. So like, what's a little bit different about it? So in terms of your case, Stephen, really, PR is, it's not cookie cutter in the sense that you have to apply that lens to each individual client and looking at, okay, well, what is it that your wife's doing? What is it that's interesting, that's different? I know there's a lot of interesting and different things about it. Like, there's huge opportunity with what you're doing with your wife's skills and what the business that you have going over there. So it's about looking at, it's about what are some of those interesting things. Local press is the lowest hanging fruit. So I would start there in terms of cultivating local relationships and seeing what programs and publications might be interested in your wife's story. And then we would strategize how, like, what do we want to say, when we want to say it, and how we're going to get it out there. And the other key thing is making it easy for the media to cover it. So it's not really good enough just to send out a news release. It's also having photos to go with it, perhaps video, perhaps an opportunity, like what's something interesting you can invite the media to. Can they come to a demonstration with your wife doing something? Can we show impact? Like the human interest side of what you're sitting on is huge. So really, really playing that up, there's definitely a lot of opportunity. Okay. So I would start thinking about what are some interesting things, or what are some of the big wins we've had, and what are some of the traditional news media that might want to cover it.
I mean, I get that it's a controversial, thing. And I mean, there's a lot of, bad press that goes with what they do. But it's kind of like, I think because something got said, I think Jonathan said it the other day about, is all press good? No, is bad press good press? I think you said something like that. Yeah. And, and you said definitely not, And it's kind of trying to think really of what they do in a positive sense. So it's not for ridicule, really, It's kind of like, and I think that's the tough thing that I was finding, was because it is, it can be taken the mickey out of. It's kind of what can we do to really put it in a good positive light, and to really get them sort of stories going, really,
So with your situation, especially in the UK where the tabloid press is so huge, looking at those publications that are going to give voice to you as a credible news source. That would be something to really look at, right? Is if that's one of your concerns, then, okay, how can we make this credible? How can we make this real? And that also has to be part of what goes into the strategy of how we're promoting your business.
And having the experience listed of what Jenny's done and how he's mentored Natalie, I think will really make a difference. And then the real stories. I mean, I've been reading some of your Facebook messages that people have written back, and heartfelt gratitude.
It's unbelievable. I mean, I'm a spiritual guy myself. I have been for many times, but I'm also very cynical. And it's this kind of battle that I kind of have with myself, because I sometimes always look for a con and that sort of stuff. But I'm in awe of what they do, because I've read cold reading books. I've read all sorts of books of how people can trick people. But the stuff that I see with what they do is unbelievable. And it is just, like you just said, the messages that come through is just so warm and heartfelt and loving. And I've watched lots of con artists do what they do, because I've obviously been around with Natalie and stuff, and you can just see straight through it. But with what they do is 100%, from legitimacy, whether you believe or not. But from what I've seen, no, I'm just saying, it's just, that's what it is. So yeah, I get that. There's a real lot of love for what they do.
Yeah. And no judgment on anybody's belief system, whatever. I guess whatever works for everybody.
Yeah.
But each of us have that same passion to help people using the gifts that we've got.
Yeah.
And you have an incredible gift of experience that you probably underestimate.
Probably.
Plus, you have 2 amazing children. You have a happy marriage. You have a lovely home. I mean, a lot of people just don't have that. And just showing people how you keep that as a constant factor is a big deal. Dory,
you said something, the gift of experience. I never ever thought of that our experiences, our past experiences, are gifts.
Totally. That's why I love this gray hair.
And it's interesting too, like you wouldn't believe the stuff Jonathan's told me about himself in the last 24 hours. It's like, I've learned so much about this man. It's like, oh my gosh, every single one of those things contributes to your success of who you are today. Like even the dips in the road, like they all contribute to who we are.
So how do you pick and choose? This is as I was talking to Lindsay a while back, and she said, so what do you do? What have you done? And I wrote this thing because I've had quite a diverse background. When it comes to your company and your brand and your website, you certainly can't detail all this stuff. So how do you bring that out, that you are a person that's done, all these crazy things?
Yeah.
You get the question.
So for me, this is where a video strategy really comes in, because you could make a video every single day or every Tuesday or twice a week, and you can think about all of these stories, jot them down, and so maybe it's I had 5 themes for every day. So I had Motivation Monday, I had Tip Tuesday, Reward Wednesday, Throwback Thursday, and Fun Friday. So every day I thought of a story. So it was either when I was with a client or a life story or something that had happened to me. And I always try and filmed it somewhere live rather than just, with a white wall behind me. So on back to school day, I pulled into a car park of an elementary school that my daughter used to go to, put my camera on the roof of the car and went, kids just went back to school today. And this was the elementary school that my daughter graduated of. We don't do elementary school anymore, but don't you think like September is like back to school for business too? A lot of us get to September and it's like the new year of business because we've had our summer holiday and we're ready to start. And I did my whole video then about the back to school boot camp that I created from the roof of my car in an elementary school car park, because it was the schools had just gone back, and I related the story of one of my kids. And every day elements of my life went into my story. And sometimes I'd talk about the work we do, and sometimes, like 9/11, September 11th was my dad's birthday. He's passed away now, but obviously it was the Twin Towers catastrophe. So I remember sitting on a rock in my garden and having someone hold the camera for me. And I just talked about, so I remember in 2001 when the 2 towers came down, I was driving from Birmingham to London, and I'd just been to a shop fitting team meeting with the projects I was working on. And I remember going on the radio and suddenly everybody started commenting about what they did the day that they heard about the news. And suddenly we had this huge conversation just because of the date. And so Jeanette, just bringing that conversation into a video strategy is super easy. And then each one of those videos can turn into a blog. And then you have a ton of categories within your website of, Jeanette's travels around the world, how Jeanette became one of the world's leading Joomla programmers. And you can literally create a whole database library of fun stories on video that can then be transcribed and blogged about. So you get them on YouTube, you get them on Facebook, and suddenly you're creating this wealth of knowledge. Because I tell you, when people, we just hired 2 people, Eileen's one of them, but the amount of people who I interviewed had gone to my website, gone to my social media, they wanted to work with me because of the cool stories that they found out about me on my social media or on my website. And, we had a documentary made about Debbie and I from this big media company in India, actually. And it was a really cool documentary, and they played it in India, and it was fun to do. They had very professional camera crew come to our house, and everybody watched that video and then came to the interview, and they already knew who I was and why they wanted to work for me. And the hardest thing for me is like, I have so many great people now, which one do I pick? Whereas traditionally when I'm talking to people about hiring, they went, yeah, if I could only find someone, I'd hire them. It's like, I had 25 people and I narrowed it down to 12, and it was hard to choose one. And in the end, I chose 2 because I found 2 amazing people. So that reverse engineering of people being attracted to you rather than you trying to find the right people is a big deal. And it's the stories, it's the fun, it's the elements of what makes you, you. I mean, I give thanks for this scar on my neck every single day because that's how I got into social media. My titanium neck and all the story that comes with it is a great story. And nobody would know if I didn't keep telling it. But that typically is how I sell my services, because people say, I don't know what to do. I don't know if I'm too old. Somebody said to me today, I'm 58. I'm going to be a slow learner. I don't know if I can do this. I went, you so got this, girl. Not mentioning names or names.
That was me.
Sorry.
Jonathan.
Yes.
Yeah, so on that PR issue, I mentioned it yesterday. I am a career coach to people in all different phases of their career. The high school and the parent stuff is something new that I added because I saw so many problems, people choosing the wrong career. So I wanted to get to the foundation of it. So they would start off on the right foot. Hopefully they could love their jobs. And for my PR, I still, I mentioned it yesterday, but I still don't know exactly how to reflect that. Having, working with executives, working with college, we're working with people at all different phases of their career. So that's really the expertise that I offer. Now I'm trying to get the parents on board so they start off on the right footing with their kids. And I struggle as to how to present that. Like, I'm thinking if I were to do an article for the media, how would I present something like that so that I'm not just seen as the person who works with parents and their kids, but, you know, the career expert.
One of your facets, yeah.
It definitely makes it easier to have one message, the primary one of the day, and having what we call in PR is a boilerplate. So whenever we write news releases for companies, there's always something at the bottom that's our descriptor, right? So who the company is. And so no matter what you send out, no matter what your blog is or what have you, at the bottom, you can have a description that says what you do, which covers everything. And then whatever your message of the day is, will be the focused message. It's difficult to catch people's interest with a catch-all statement.
Right.
So I would choose, and I'm the same way. Like I work with professional women. So I work with them if they're redefining their career choice, if they are if through that redefinition they decide they want to start a business, then I work with them to help them launch their business. And then through that, if they decide they want to stay in their careers, but they want to navigate up the pole a little bit differently, then I work with them that way. So I work with women in all three areas. And then I bring my PR experience to bear too. So look, that's 4 stories just with that alone. So, but it gets watered down if you say it all at once. So typically I'm promoting one thing at a time so people can understand that one thing. And then another day I'll be promoting something else.
And what's your boilerplate? What's your boilerplate at the bottom?
At the bottom, it describes my entire business. This is who I work with, and I can say all 3 in one sentence. And if they want to know more, they go to my website.
Oh, but you push out whatever it is that you want to focus on, or you want the media to focus on today regarding whatever it is.
Yeah. So for example, yeah. So and that just means you have more to tell, right? You have more stories to get out. So you might be focusing on, a month at something once a month, or every month you're focusing on a different aspect of your business. Focus on building that part that month. Or if the story is you can talk about all of it, but then the story is more you versus who you're helping on that particular day.
Okay.
Julia, I have a great idea. Tell me if I'm wrong. One of your clients is Toyota, right?
That was a kind of a one-time thing. They're not my client right now.
It's okay. They were. You worked with Toyota. Oh, she froze.
I can't hear you anymore.
Oh, sorry. You just froze.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, you can hand on heart say you work with Toyota, right?
Uh-huh.
So Toyota right now, certainly in Canada, have the most incredible commercial about overcoming adversity and how Toyota has been there helping all of these people. It's an amazing commercial. So first of all, I would go find that on the Toyota Facebook page and share it. And then just say, one of my clients was this very company, and I so appreciated the values that they put into hiring professionals like me to work with their executive team. Then try and find a picture of a Toyota with a car seat in. So you trust Toyota because you know the steel safety cell around this car is so strong that you would trust your baby in a Toyota. And then you're bringing in the family sort of R factor. Then fast forward it to the 16-year-old who's driving his first car with his end plate on, and mom and dad are at the drive, and the kid's going down the road because he's just passed his test, and say, do you remember that day when your kid passed the test and suddenly they drove down the road without you? Well, I'm on that journey with you too, because I'm going to help you transcribe that journey through college and into career. So just like I worked with Toyota, when he's driving his little Toyota Matrix down the road, you could tie that in. So just using one brand, you could totally parallel who you are.
Wow. And I also, I'm actually currently now working on a project with Honda. So.
Same thing. So grab the Honda Odyssey van and all of different variable seats that people use, whether you have a Odyssey van as well, right?
We have a Pilot, yeah.
A Pilot, okay. There's so much that you could correlate to from the car analogy.
You know, Jonathan, I knew this was a good investment. I knew this from the get-go.
So here's the thing with my creative ideas. I don't know I'm going to say them until they come out. And it's just when you started talking, and I remember seeing your website with a Toyota logo, and I went, oh.
But now I'm visualizing the whole transition of like who's in that car, right? They start as children, and then pretty soon they're driving, and then pretty soon it's something else. Like you can even visualize that in video form with people growing up.
That could be your whole website strategy. You know, at the C level of, you know, the auto manufacturer, right down to the mom, you know, with a baby in the car, to the first-time driver.
Wow.
They're all facets of who you could coach.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm so happy this is being recorded. I looked up to see, is this being recorded? Because I couldn't keep up with the notes, but this is awesome.
That's why we do it. Yeah.
This is awesome. Thank you.
Who's next?
Well, this is Dory. That's relevant for me too. As you know, I'm still trying to figure out where I'm pointing my arrow in terms of the focus going forward. But what's coming up for me now is this whole to mom or not to mom, because that's what a lot of my professional clients are coming to me kind of in the question, do I have children or not? And how do I make peace with the choice not to have children when the thrust in the culture is the opposite? And then if I do have children, how do I marry my professional and career ambitions with that decision and align these, which is what I did. I spent 20 years in corporate America and had children, and then at a certain point left to be the anchor parent to our 4 boys. And now our youngest is a freshman in college and launching. And so that I could tell that whole story too, is what I'm hearing, right? From literally cradle to grave. And what's the power? And the thing I like to do is play at that intersection of personal and professional and spiritual and practical, you know, that real cool center point that gets very interesting. And so to help people kind of navigate the choosing, like my decision to leave corporate America altogether when I was on a fast track to running something. I had lots of judgment, no support for that except from my husband. But it was an important decision for me. And that's a big part of what I want to convey in my work is what do you want? What's your choice? And how do you design your life no matter what the rest of the outside and messaging is? And to really help people have a place to have those conversations. And then though, once they make that decision and they're in the thick of trying to navigate that choice, right? Then what? Then that's where I had a company called World Class Parenting that I shut down, but that may be an interesting bridge down the road to that part of the work to help people navigate that process as they're going. And stay married if that's what they want. Yes. And, you know, build a thriving life that's important to them separately, important in their marriage, and important as a parent. And that's just one vehicle of expression. They still have their work in the world or whatever else they're doing. So I can feel the whole story starting to unfold.
Yeah. Okay. So a couple of thoughts that came to me. I read an article the other day of a fellow called Rick Moranis. Remember the guy who was in Ghostbusters?
And Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah.
You don't hear from him anymore.
Uh-huh.
I found out from his biography that he got married and his wife died very suddenly after the 2 babies were born of breast cancer. And in 1998, he decided he would stop his Hollywood career and become a full-time dad. And he has never worked since in the movie industry. All he has done is brought up his kids. And it's an incredible story. Because I like at the top of his career, making multiple millions, he stopped to bring up his 2 kids because that was the choice that he made.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's a dad, not a mom, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, Gwyneth Paltrow, when she had a baby, was it Apple? I think they called the baby. She went out making movies to raise her child.
Mm-hmm.
Equally so, there are a lot of people that do not raise children. So you could find a lot of media-rich stories to share on your Facebook page as case studies, and then curate that story as the expert on balanced choices and how people have made those choices happily, one way or another. But, you know, I was so impressed with Rick Moranis' story. I just didn't know it. And it's a great one. So that's the kind of content I think you should be looking for, and they will create great conversations because people know these people. Like Adam Levine, they've just had from Maroon 5, they just had their second baby. Hardly anybody even knew his wife was pregnant because he didn't want the media. But the announcement was the baby was born, and you know, you can sort of be quiet about this stuff without being in the public eye, but you'll find a ton of stories that I think could relate to your goals. And then you could also say, you know, in your professional bio, you could say, I am the founder of a company called World Class Parenting. I mean, you are. Like Lisa is the queen of sales conversion. You know, just the fact that you can say you're the founder of the World Class Parenting movement or company, that sounds very impressive. So I jump in on that one.
Yeah, my last name is Class, so that's why.
Oh, see, she told me a story the other day. What was the story that was that at your one of the kids' baptisms or something that your dad was talking about? The little rip. Tell me that.
Oh no, yeah. Well, when my husband and I got married, my maiden name is Ripple, and so when my husband and I got married, my dad gave a toast, and he finished the toast with "Here's to a bunch of little ripples with a touch of class."
Oh, that's awesome.
And we have 4 boys, and you know, they like us. They're thriving. We're thriving. The family's thriving. They bring their friends home. That was our intention. And it's like we're pinching ourselves now, 27 years into our marriage, to say, you know, we had a vision, we set an intention, we took aligned action, and here we are. And it's the same tactics I used in corporate America to run projects and big programs and large departments.
And that's your story right there.
What?
That's your story right there. The
Yeah.
power of intention, following through from corporate America. And if you could get a wedding photograph of your dad or just a picture of your dad and make that a quote, like a meme, and like, and that's, you know, the power of intention that was set for my family. And here I am 27 years later, the youngest is now a freshman in college. And now I'm free because I've released them to go into college to help you too. But this is what we've achieved. And that alone is a very, very compelling reason to want to work with you.
Yeah. And now I get to play with the second half or third of my life with my best friend and all our friends that, you know, we have, and our kids want to do stuff with us. I mean, it's pretty damn nice. I'll be honest.
I'm awesome. That's awesome. Yep. And Renee's joined us too. Hi, Renee.
Hi.
How's the weather in Colorado?
It's actually very warm today. I just jumped in and Dory, that's extraordinary. I just heard the ending, and you know, what a cool thing to say, you know, our kids like us. What a neat story. So that's great.
Yeah, it is. It's not often that happens.
Thank you. I was on mute. Sorry.
All right.
You talk about great kids. I met these 2 daughters last night. Even this morning, like Amanda came and said, "Hi, I'm Amanda," and she shook my hand over breakfast. I mean, it's like, how many?
Did I introduce you guys last night?
You did, but she reintroduced herself to me this morning. You know, so polite.
And my younger one was in a poop emoji onesie when she met. So after his own heart, dressed as an emoji.
These make great stories. You know, you just said she lives in onesies, right?
She lives in onesies, and
there's a comfort factor there. So maybe the comfort of somebody hiring you, they feel like they're in a onesie because you got them covered.
Oh my!
I got in late, Jonathan. Can you? What are you do? What are you 2 doing?
Just having a blast and drinking some coffee.
What are you 2 up to?
Okay, so Susan is one of our VIP clients, and she's jumped right in for the whole meal deal of working with me for a period. And part of that VIP experience is we do typically do a couple of half-day one-on-ones virtually, but because she lived fairly close to where I live, it's an hour's flight. We decided we'd be much more productive if I flew here and stayed over. So I flew in last night, so we had all day today and all day tomorrow, and I fly back tomorrow night. So we're going to change the world in 2 days.
I believe you both will. I absolutely believe that.
And we're hoping Rosalie is going to brave the roads, but it might not be till tomorrow. I don't know, depending. Rosalie works with us and lives just outside the city on a ranch. So
With 8 dogs and a horse, I
like
hear.
maybe it's not 8. How many dogs, Rosalie?
6 dogs.
Oh, sorry.
6 dogs. 3 horses.
5 horses?
We're crazy.
So, you know, if anybody wants me to fly to their house and go VIP with me in Arizona or Colorado or, you know, Wisconsin, you know, bring it on. The more air miles I can get, the better. And in fact, I'm in the UK next week, but I don't know if I'll actually be meeting Steve, but that would have been fun. Can you get to Heathrow next Thursday morning?
I don't know about that because obviously I've got commitments to my own business. But yeah, it's a pity you weren't. You know, it's not actually that far. It's about an hour's drive, I think. So yeah, but yeah, I suppose people know this.
But the traffic, that's probably 3 weeks.
Depends what time of the day you go, eh?
They say that the M25 is Europe's biggest car park, right?
Yeah, it's just a big circular car park, you know?
Yeah. Anyway, so that's, Juliet, that's the answer to your question.
Thank you.
No pressure at all, seating or anything like that. But
No seating? I think that's strategic seating. Very discreet.
I had the joy on Saturday of speaking in San Diego for a fellow, the Lisa Sasevich Mastermind, a lady called Helen Chang was doing an event. It was a 3-day event. It was called Idea to Publish Book in 3 days. So it wasn't that they wrote the book in 3 days. It was just they came up with their idea and they had enough structure to be able to think about being a published author. And she asked me to come and speak. So I was able to join the boot camp for a couple of days, learn a lot about how this company works and the policy and procedure around writing books and becoming bestsellers, which is very good and genuine. And then on a Saturday, I got to speak. I had 90 minutes to seed what I could do with these people. And we created a boot camp just for authors. And I decided I would only have 10 seats and I would only offer it to people in the room at that point in time. It was a one-time, if you want to work with me, it's $997 and I'm going to do a 5-week boot camp just for you, but I only have 10 seats. No kidding. People ran to the back of the room with their credit card in their hand, literally got out of the seats and barged past other people to get one of the seats.
High five!
Like the best freaking feeling in the world. And then one guy said to me over lunch, he said, I was the first person to buy. And I went, I didn't see him at the back of the table. And he went, you're about 30 minutes into your talk. And I went back to the table and I gave them my credit card and said, I don't know what this guy is selling and I don't know how much it's going to be, but I want it. I went, high five.
Wow. I want me some of that.
I want, yeah. So
Wow.
that's what comes
That's
from a great
amazing.
speak to sell talk. And it's all stories of how I got to where I got to, my kids, my family, my business, my success stories, and everybody wants a piece of it. That's why you're all here. We all want to get better, right? Me too. I'm learning from this lady too. I mean, I should be the social media expert on British Columbia TV and radio right now.
You should be.
It's like, what the heck?
Just hire me.
Oh,
See?
Yeah, Susan!
Well, I remember, I got to take a photograph of this.
Oh my gosh.
Just because it's going to be too good an opportunity not to grab a picture. So I'm trying to get the thing at the window as well with this snow going outside. Frame it up. Like that. Awesome. See, I can share that later. And Susan now has her own selfie stick to do her own
It'll be awesome.
her own pictures. So,
Except my kids. It might just be me and my husband. It's too embarrassing.
10 more minutes, folks. What else can we help you with? Oh, no, we don't. 3 more minutes. Any other questions that people might have? What's coming up?
I have a quick question. And anyways, I'll ask it. So if I post something on Facebook, on my page, my Facebook page to my company page, Is it too much for me to then switch to my profile, personal profile, like it, and then share it? Or is that too much?
No, because it's totally different audiences.
Okay.
The people who see your personal profile, as much as you'd love them to see your company page, they probably won't. So even though it's exactly the same post, yeah, totally.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
get way better engagement on your personal page.
Jonathan also taught me to go in as my personal self and like my professional posts, because
It shows up on your feed.
it shows up on your feed. But the other thing is, then Facebook knows that someone other than yourself liked yourself. Like Facebook doesn't know that you're the same person, really. If you have a business page and a personal page.
Hopefully. Yeah.
That's the way it goes,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then someone has to like your business post within a certain period of time for Facebook to allow it to show.
So are you saying as a business owner, you can like your own business post?
Yeah, you just switch
But
personality.
you just have to be yourself when you go in and do it, right? So there's a little button that says you're Jeanette personally, and you just switch to make sure you're liking as Jeanette personally.
So it's
Okay.
a different profile picture from your business page to your personal, so you can see which one you're on.
Yeah. Wow.
There we go. Hey, Harvey. Look at that academia room of his. There's a guy who likes the books, hey? So Harvey Learns an online church.
Love it.
Where people can pick their music styles that are from traditional contemporary. They can pick the time of day that they want to watch his sermon, and then they can bring people over for brunch, and they can just do
That's
church in
awesome.
their living room. It's genius.
That's 2018, hey?
Genius.
Everybody
great.
wants community.
Yeah.
So do community around a circle, not in rows.
Love it.
I love it. The church I've been going to is out of Winnipeg, and more often than not now you go and the pastor is on a video screen. So it's really interesting to watch this church cultivate an in-person audience for a presentation that's happening not there. It's really interesting.
At the church that I attend, same thing. They're going across Canada and it's via internet.
Maybe we go to the same church, Jeanette.
Village, do you go to Village Church?
No, it's called Spring.
I've heard of
They
it.
just opened one up in Calgary Village. It's pretty crazy.
Really?
Yeah,
Yes.
Check that out.
I've heard really good things. Yeah.
Maybe
Well,
we'll
Susan,
be going to the same church.
Susan, this was really helpful what you shared with me about, for whatever it is that I want to promote at that time, just focus on that and then have my constant boilerplate at the bottom. So I am who I am at all times, but I can focus on different things based on what I want to promote in the moment.
Excellent.
So that was really helpful.
Good. Thanks for telling me. Good.
Thanks. And of course, Jonathan, that was priceless, the Toyota and Honda. That's priceless. So I'm really happy that I came on today.
Yay. Okay, we're at the top of the hour, folks.
This will obviously be posted up, right?
Yeah, this is recorded in the cloud, so then Paige picks it up. She puts it on YouTube, and then she puts it into the group for you guys.
Cool. I just want to go back over all that PR stuff. So yeah.
Oh, yeah, you will. Yeah, that's why we record everything. Yeah.
Awesome.
Alrighty, we'll speak to you soon. And Renee, I know I'm overdue a call with you. I'll get to you very soon, I promise.
How do we do that? Are you going to reach out to me?
I will, yes.
Okay, thank you.
I'll try and do it on a break today.
Okay.
You're not getting a break. He doesn't know that.
Restroom. It'll be a restroom break.
Really sneak into the bathroom.
Wouldn't be the first time. Thanks for
Take
joining
care,
us.
everybody. Bye.
Again soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.